Who needs this win more, in your opinion?
Well, look, who needs a win more week one of the season? I don't have a strong point of view about that, honestly. If you force me to answer that question, I'll actually say the defending Super Bowl champs, because everyone's always looking for a Super Bowl hangover. Because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is supposed to be this incredible weapon for them, a running back who can do a lot of things in an Andy Reid offense, where Andy Reid should be able to make great use of him, with teammates like Tyreek Hill and obviously Travis Kelce drawing a lot of attention, with the best quarterback I've ever seen, certainly to start his career, in Patrick Mahomes, looking to defend the title. If they have a bad game, if they get off to a bad start, that's a bad look. It's only 1 week. You can make a good argument for the Texans after their big trade, Stephen A. I'm sure you will. The Chiefs have already won the championship, and the Texans have not. But the Chiefs are now the hunted ones. They're now the ones with the target on their back. Let's see how they respond to a tough challenge week one with the Texans defense and Deshaun Watson with his own brand new big-time contract. Actually, I think Deshaun Watson's contract's preferable to Patrick Mahomes' contract. If I could sign either one as a player, I think I'd rather have Watson's contract with the 4 years and then he can get out. At any rate, I think if there is more pressure to win in a week one game, opening day of the season, I would say it's on the Chiefs.
I don't think it's even close, Max. I definitely think it's the Houston Texans. It's not even close here. First of all, they were the one that got romped. They had a 24-0 lead in their divisional playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. It was 24-0 in the second quarter. But by the time 2 minutes remained in the second quarter, I think, they were down 28-24. Kansas City had scored 28 unanswered points in the second quarter alone, and 41 straight, blowing them out of the state of Missouri 51-31, giving new meaning to the show me state, because they showed the Houston Texans something. Make no mistake about it. In the aftermath of that, let's see what happens. The Kansas City Chiefs simply went on to overcome a 10-point deficit and ultimately beat the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game. They overcome a 10-point deficit in the Super Bowl to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Patrick Mahomes is an MVP. Travis Kelce and those boys are doing their things. They're living life to the fullest. What do the Houston Texans do? You have a situation where DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in the world, this dude ultimately gets moved out of there to Arizona because Bill O'Brien and he can't get along, and Bill O'Brien tries to lean on his contract demands, claiming that he wanted too much. And it turns out, what did he want? What Michael Thomas ultimately got, what Julio Jones ultimately got, what Amari Cooper for the Dallas Cowboys ultimately got. So that's number one. You get rid of DeAndre Hopkins. You replace him by acquiring Brandon Cooks from the LA Rams. Brandon Cooks right now has a quad injury. We don't know what his situation is. You got a guy on Will Fuller who's one of your wideouts. This dude had 217 yards and like 3 touchdowns against the Atlanta Falcons, if I remember correctly, last year. But there were 4 other games where he had 2 receptions or less on the season, and there were 5 games that he actually missed. So you have him trying to prove something. You have Cooks trying to prove that he could offset the loss of DeAndre Hopkins to some degree. You've got the quarterback, Deshaun Watson, trying to prove that he's worthy of the money we all know he is worthy of, okay? And this is a team that obviously you also have a running back in David Johnson who has immense pressure on him, who hasn't really produced since 2016, who's getting paid about a $10.2 million base salary. And oh, by the way, what's the pressure on him? The fact that he was the guy acquired for losing DeAndre Hopkins. And so now you have a situation where you got a running back, you got 2 wideouts, a quarterback with his contract situation, all with a boatload to prove against a team that romped them in the AFC Championship game. To open this season, by the way, with a Tennessee Titans team that's in your division, but that was in the AFC Championship game last year instead of you, that has Derrick Henry returning. And oh, by the way, Phillip Rivers is now in Indy, and obviously he's not what he used to be because he's not a mobile quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, and he's aged, of course, but the Indianapolis Colts got a crew, and because they got a crew and you got a quarterback that can still throw for over 4,000 yards, that can still complete about 66% of his passes, they're a threat as well. So all those things being considered, I think it's clearly on the shoulders of the Houston Texans as it pertains to pressure for tonight's game. Who needs this game more?
If the
Kansas
question
City
were
can overcome a loss. Can Houston? That's the question.
Yeah, they've had some slow starts in recent years and have wound up okay. Bill O'Brien's had to make some adjustments, moving the pocket and stuff with Deshaun Watson, which eventually worked out. If the question was who has more to gain from a win, I would agree with you. The Texans have more to gain from a win. With all the turnover, with the stupid trade they made, all that stuff, and considering how stacked and what the expectations are for the Chiefs, if the Texans win, they have more to gain. But who has more? Like, if the Texans lose by a little, they've proven a lot. If, it's early in the season. There are a lot of new pieces. The new quarterback just got his new contract. They're playing the champs. If they lose in a tight game, they still could have proved certain things. If the Chiefs lose in a tight game, that's bad for them. Now imagine the reverse, or the other alternative. Let's say the Texans get beaten up and they lose big to the juggernaut Chiefs. Well, of course, look, that was a bad trade. They have new pieces. They need time to integrate the pieces. What if the Chiefs lost big to the Texans? It's kind of a disaster. So if you want to say who has more to gain just from a win outright, I think it's the Texans. And I think it's a close question anyway. But if you make me answer who has more to prove, I'd say the Super Bowl champs have to prove that now as the hunted ones, there's no Super Bowl hangover.
Right. Well, newsflash, Max Kellerman, this is First Take. Of course I'm making you give an answer, which is what you did. You gave an answer because it's First Take. That's what you're required to do on this show. This is not like most shows. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.